As with every rack of pool, no matter how easy the layout might appear to you at first, you'll never see a top level pro take any balls for granted. And you can create your own problems either by being too reckless and mentally lazy, or by being too uptight and nervous about it. So there's a line between the two, and that's the line you're forced to walk if you want to be a top level pool player. So before we start, let's go ahead and stop and take a look at the potential problems on this rack and how you can go way far wrong just by being too reckless and taking things for granted. Well, I'm also telling myself now this is going to be easy and I can do this in my sleep. You're going to see things go a little bit wrong straight from the first shot, straight from the 1 ball to the 2 ball, and this is the pattern layout. And on this 1 ball shot, this is your target, this rectangle section on the left-hand side rail. And the reason that's your target is because it brings you down off the rail and into that oval position you're seeing right now on that 2 ball. And really the only thing that can go wrong here is that you go too long and get straight in on the 2. You do not want to be straight in on the 2 ball. And as you know, that's because you need an angle on the 2 to get right on the 3 ball. And if you decide to play 3 rails and go past that rectangle a little bit, you're taking a big chance of hitting the 8 ball and getting all tangled up and blocked, and I would not recommend doing that. Another big mistake would be in avoiding the left-hand side rail altogether and coming all the way down to the short rail, and there's so much that can go wrong with that. And the big question is, why would you use this tiny little target when you have this great big target over here? And so much can go wrong. You could scratch, you could hit the 8 ball. And another problem is you're going to put yourself on the rail because that's where the natural angle is going off that bottom rail. So it's confirmed that the correct way to do it is this way, and it's going to take just a hair right-hand English to widen the angle off the top rail and to aim for that rectangle. Another issue that comes up is on the 3-ball shot, and I want you to take a look at this 3-ball, and you're going to ask why I did this when doing it like this just seems to be a better way. And there's a good answer for that. And if you look at the length of my bridge on this shot, you'll see it's speaking of long bridges, it's about as long as it can get right there. You can also see I'm a little bit stretched out on the table, but I can still see this 3-ball shot very clearly. Now, if I readjust and put my bridge in front of that 7-ball in order to put right-hand English on it and feel secure doing that, I'm going to be way stretched out on the table. I'm going to be off balance, and it's going to knock my alignment off. So I don't want to do that. At this point, I just want to cinch that 3-ball shot because I know I can cut this 4-ball in the right-hand side pocket, go down to the top rail with a little bit of left-hand English, and get to position that I want on the 5-ball. We're going to reverse the angle off this top rail and come back for the left side of the 5-ball. And that has everything to do with the placement of the 6, 7, 8, and 9. And I'm going to explain all that to you with another graphic here. One of the first things you want to figure out as you're walking up to the table is the last balls on the table. You need to see that destination so it gets into your subconscious mind so you know how to get there. So if we look at the 6, 7, 8, and 9, to be right on the 6 to implement the plan that's in my head, I have to get an angle on this 5 in order to get right on the 6. And I barely want to skim the 6 when I shoot the 6 because the natural angle off this rail, and this rail is right on line for the 7. And from there I can just draw back and get perfect on the 8-ball. So when you hear players talking about playing the line or playing into the line, this is exactly what they're talking about. Now, before I go any further, I want to take a look again at that long bridge. A lot of players avoid this, and the reason they avoid it is because it tends to magnify any flaws in your stroke. The key to that is to work on your stroke. Now, I'm not condoning a super long bridge like this, but I'm not opposed to it either, and it comes in handy in situations like this. If a shorter bridge works for you in a case like this, then that's fine, but I say the answer here is to work on your stroke and to keep it from ever having flaws in it, whether it's short or long. And if you find your stroke going off, wiggling, doing all kinds of crazy stuff, the key and the problem most likely is that you're dropping the shoulder. And the key to that is to practice your stroke while keeping that elbow up. Now we have one more little issue to look at before we get on with the actual video, and it's on this 8 ball, and I get a little bit of an awkward angle on the 8. I would have liked more of an angle on this 8 so I could just shoot it with just center ball or just a little bit of top and get perfect on the 9 ball, but I'm going to have to finesse this shot a little bit, and a lot of guys make a big mistake right here. Yeah, it's not a terrible idea to draw this back and put a little bit of right-hand English on it to try to get on this side of the 9, but I think a better idea is to get up on the short side of the 9. The problem with it is if you put top on this ball, you're going to come up and you're going to be right on the 9, or you're going to bump the 9, you're going to wind up with a bank like this. And the last thing you want to do is shoot a bank on the 9 ball. So when the video rolls at the end of the game, I really want you to pay attention to the cue ball when I shoot this 8 ball. We don't want to wind up with that sharp angle and wind up with a bank. We want to be in this position right here. And in order to do that, we're going to have to spin that cue ball off this rail and widen that angle to get behind the 9 ball. Now, this is not shot hard, and that's where a lot of players make the mistake, and they go way back up table, and you don't want to be there. You're also liable to scratch in the side, and you don't want that. So you really have to keep your head here, and you can actually see the cue ball spinning clockwise after I hit the 8 and bounce off that rail. As soon as it hit in this rail, it's going to widen, and it's going to get perfect. This is shot with just straight left, no top and no bottom. And I'll replay that shot for you at the end of the video, and I'll try to zoom in and put it in slow motion so you can see exactly what's going on with that cue ball. Yeah, it's snowing in East Tennessee. That one minute it'll be, really hard, and the next minute it looks like it's going away, and then it keeps coming back and making that cycle over and over. So just in case we get snowed in, I had to run out and get coffee, beer, cigarettes, all the essentials. Off the alcohol, I'm not drinking any hard alcohol, so that's good. Not too bad. So yeah, I'm just kind of staying in the house and produce some award-winning videos.